I'm a 49er, I bleed red and gold. I've been faithful since I was 2 years old. We bout to score quick and count another ring. Being a 49er means I'm a 49er.
They don't give a fuck about how you look. We lost.
That's true.
They don't give a damn. Yo, 45. 49er Faithful, it is I, Filmo Trev, back to you with episode 2 of my new podcast. I haven't figured out the name yet, but we will do that at some point, figure out the name of this podcast. It is I, as well as sitting with my new co-host that will be here until I get someone else that has the balls to sit with me. L's here. Talk 49er football. So thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, like, ladies as well. Subscribe, like, and I promise you this will get better quality as we go. Every single week I'm going to try my very best to do my due diligence to aesthetic, audio, and everything else, lighting, and whatever you guys can see that would make you guys feel that you guys can watch a full episode. Drop in the comment section and let us know, and we will try to do our very best to make it better. We are the only podcast that gets to pod in color and live in person. She's here. I'm here. We're not doing that over the phone, talking to someone bumba heck nowhere. No, we're right here together to talk about the 49ers. So, 49ers lose. Wasn't expecting it. I'm irritated. And I'm going to give it to L to give her status of what did you think of the game?
It just felt like a completely different game from the last one.
Absolutely.
It felt like a different team in some ways. Some players played very consistently, what we saw before.
Yeah.
But some moments, some players felt like they were radically different from before.
Where the hell was Ayuk? That's outside of the play calling, and we'll definitely talk about the play calling. That irritated me from the beginning of the game, but Ayuk was nowhere to be found. And to me, he played like a third string wide receiver instead of playing like a $30 million wide receiver. Did you see those same things? Because we saw Justin Jefferson and what he did. There's really nothing to really say. Justin Jefferson showed why he's worth every single penny. He's a captain, leader of the amongst men, and when he needs to play, they went to him and he made those plays. But for some reason, Brandon Ayuk is, I don't want to say rusty. What would you say? He's...
His head isn't in it. I don't know where that comes from, though.
I don't know either. It's ever since the offseason, he's just been doing his own thing and it really hasn't he's missing his connection.
Totally.
But if you notice, Debo, everywhere. Debo was everywhere. Debo was completely dominating the game. And for some reason, I said this a few weeks ago, I thought Debo would be our leading wide receiver. And he's been leading. Literally been leading. He's been doing everything. And I don't think this really comes down to Christian McCaffrey not being there. This comes down to our star wide receiver who we paid mad money to not showing up. And that's the part that sucks, is that we pushed out all this money to get you all this money that you wanted. We did that, and now you're playing like a third-string wide receiver. Juwan, third and Juwan, phenomenal. He only got paid $15 million, and he's playing like a true number 2 wide receiver, and we're paying Ayuk all this cash, and he's not doing a damn thing. And not to mention the play calling. What did you think of the play calling from last week to this week? What was the play calling to you? What did you see?
What do you mean by play calling?
Meaning as in the plays are being called that Kyle Shanahan was calling. I felt they were mid. They weren't aggressive. He was aggressive going on for 4th down, but it wasn't cool. It wasn't smooth. You know what I mean?
I felt that, Ayuk's performance felt consistent to me in the sense that it was similar to what we saw before. And so, on the one hand, it might be easy to say, he didn't improve, but maybe there are subtle improvements. Did you detect anything? Any changes?
Was he better than last week? Yes. Was that good enough? Not for $30 million. Not for $30 million. He wasn't good enough for me, per se. I think that when you're on a superstar team like this, and you want to dominate and really be a star, you got to prove that you're a star. You can't just say you're a star. You have to prove it every single week. It can't just be, in your mind that you're a star. It has to show up at practice. It has to show up when you talk to the other guys on the team. It has to show up on how you deal with stuff outside the media. It has to deal with the media. It has to deal with the coaching. It's the way you prepare. And from what I gathered, yes, he was better than he was last week, but it's still not even coming close. It's not coming even touching what Justin Jefferson was doing. And he wants to get paid. Like that's the part for me. This was a great showing of what a true $100 million wide receiver looks like. A true example of it. We saw Justin Jefferson on the 2-yard line, beat double coverage, gets behind the secondary, and scores a touchdown for 98 yards. We won't get that from Ayuk at any time of the season. Not because we're not asking him to do that, but because he just doesn't have the depth of skill to do that. But you're asking for top wide receiver money.
Well, question for you. Do you think he has that potential? In other words,
no.
Is it a mental thing, if in your perspective, or is it a physical skill? What comes out of just raw practice?
I think it's both. I really do think it's both. I think Ayuk is a great wide receiver. He is a great wide receiver. To me, is he top 5? Hell no. He's not a top 5 wide receiver. To me, he's a top 8, 9. But we're paying him like he's a star, and he's not. Debo is a star. Debo this season is playing like a true number 1 wide receiver. And that's not even how the NFL or fans view Debo. We see him as a gadget player, someone who can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He's the person that, if you need him to throw the ball, you need him to run the ball, if you need him to pass the ball, if you need him to do anything, he can do it with the ball on the offensive side. Ayuk is supposed to be the person who's the best route running, the person that can do all these different things, and he's not doing it. And it's because he wasn't there in the offseason. It's because he wasn't training with the team. It's because he was, dicking around and not taking things seriously. And it sucks because you're actually seeing what happens when you hold out, you're not with the team, you're not working with your quarterback, and we're seeing the downfall of him not being there. And even when I think about Brock Purdy, this was a struggle game for Brock Purdy. Absolutely. This was a huge struggle game for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy had the opportunity to take another advancement in his growth, and I feel he took steps back because of what the coverages was giving him in the secondary and the linebackers. It's easy when people are just standing there still. But I felt that the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff did a great job of facilitating and making sure we're taking away everything that Purdy loves to do. And then we're going to blitz him on top of that. And we're not just going to blitz him. We're going to send the blitz coming from the opposite side of what Trent Williams. Y'all gave Trent Williams $100 million. Let's show you why he's not worth it. And they exposed Trent Williams. They exposed Brock Purdy. They blitzed from his blind side. And they made really Trent Williams have to think more than just reacting. And if you ever watch like old Trent Williams games, he's doing a phenomenal job because he's just reacting. He's not having to think because people really don't test him. The Minnesota Vikings really tested him. They tested him. He gave up 2 sacks, maybe 2.5, maybe 3. But this was a game that Trent really had to work and earn his paycheck, and he had to step up. And they was bringing him multiple different guys coming in. They had corners dropping into blitz. They had safeties coming down. They had linebackers, opposite linebackers. They had everything coming to him, and it just wasn't a good game. From the kickoff, from the start, the Minnesota Vikings really had a hand in dominating the 49ers. And I'm going to be honest, I felt the Minnesota Vikings wanted this victory more than the Niners.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from what I'm getting out of what you're saying, they did their research.
Absolutely.
They did their deep research.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it sucks that when you have such a Super Bowl caliber team that coming into the next season, they don't want to take every single team seriously. They just want to get to the playoffs and, but it doesn't work like that.
Do you think there's any risks to taking every game seriously? For example, could it lead to more injuries? Could it lead to more mistakes in certain ways, or is that always what you should do? Take every game seriously.
You should always take every game seriously. You should never doubt your opponent, because anyone can win any given Sunday. But when you have spent the money that the 49ers has spent, no, every game should be no, we're going to dominate. The 49ers couldn't do that this game.
Does it sap your energy, do you think, as a team overall, including coach?
Absolutely. When you get to the Super Bowl and not win it, when you've been that far in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl and not win it, it does take away. It does drain something out of you. As a player, as a fan, just supporting the team, podcasting, it does take something out of you. At the same time, that's like one of the greatest things about football. It's only for 5 months. And then you get a break, and you get to come right back at it and do it again. So no matter how that offseason was, you have to come back and be perfect again. And for some reason, this was a good thing. I think it was good that we got punched in the face early.
Yeah.
I think it was a really good thing for us to get punched in the face early, for us to really get our shit together and say, hey, this isn't last year. Last year's over and done with. This is a completely brand new year, and we have no choice but to step it up and be better. Because if we're not better, then this was going to happen. People are going to punch us in the mouth, and we have to do better. From Kyle Shanahan's play calling to Brock Purdy, he had nothing. And here's the thing. That offensive line blocked their asses off, but there was no one open. So Brock Purdy needs to do a better job at saying nothing's open, check down, run out of bounds. And that's kind of like what he didn't want to do. He just sat in the pocket. And when you sit in the pocket, of course, offensive linemen are going to give up sacks. And that's what happened.
Fred brought those punches. He brought them. That is his thing.
So you might not know who this player is. And if you want to do some research on a really good person where I know for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, I know exactly the person that taught him that. It was a player from the Chicago Bears who was a cornerback. He was 6'2". He's a cop, actually. That's the crazy part. He's a cop. He's a cop / football player. His name was Peanut Tillman. Peanut
Great
Tillman.
Name.
Peanut Tillman, from what I can remember, and I believe is the inventor of, it's called the peanut punch. So he would pretty much, whoever he was going against, he would square them up, and instead of tackling them, he was so eye on ball to where he could punch the ball out. Fred Warner's doing it at a high level. I don't think no one in 2 weeks has punched the ball out more than 4 times.
Yeah.
He is by far making fumbles. He is easily leading in fumbles right now with that punch. That punch is so deadly, and it's working.
How do you defend against that? You know what I mean? Because you might not see Fred coming, right? So like he could come from behind you or something.
Yeah. It's more so. It's a weird thing because it's about angles. It's all about angles and the trajectory of how Fred's throwing his body at it. He's literally making sure that he has enough range to where he gets close enough to where he can like engage and punch the ball out at such a force to where you really can't do it unless you have both hands on the ball tight. And every single time, people are having one hand on the ball. So he's pretty much saying that my 50% of punching the ball out is stronger than your one bicep. Mm-hmm. And it's working. It's working perfect. Oh my gosh. It's working so good.
It's really satisfying to see.
It really it's
something satisfying about it.
It's weird. It's like a thing of like, I wasn't expecting it this game, but to see him do it twice in this game, and when he did it against Cook, right there on the 1 yard line, phenomenal. That was a game changer for me right there, and I wish that we really could have had more momentum. Like we scored off of that, but we should have done more. We definitely should have done more. So
we want to see more peanut punches.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah, bring back the peanut punches. Everybody should be doing that on the 49ers. The whole 49ers defense should be working on the peanut punch. Absolutely. Because there were so many different times I saw where I wanted Lenore. I wanted Brown, who had a horrible game, and we could talk about that in a second. But they had opportunities to punch the ball out, and they were hugging and rapping, and they wasn't really... It was frustrating. Mm-hmm. It was very frustrating of not wanting to be the hammer, but was the nail. And I felt a lot of the 49ers defense, for some reason, this game wanted to be the nail and get hit instead of doing the hitting. And
Okay, question for you. So when I'm seeing Fred doing the peanut punch, I see that he's doing this from an angle. So suppose, suppose this is happening head on.
Okay.
And let's say you do like an uppercut. This is a very naive question. Is it like illegal in any way to punch it from below? And like, what if the ball hits their face or their chin or something like that? Is there like a penalty for that?
Why would you punch it up though?
Just if it's out of their hands, then it's still a fumble, right?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But I would rather for him to punch down and the ball goes down than to punch up and the ball goes up.
I feel like that's harder to accomplish, no?
What?
To punch down.
Nah.
Okay.
Like
easier to protect against? Easier to protect against. Easier to see, maybe. Easier to maneuver away from that. All you have to do is turn. I guess it's maybe still true of the uppercut.
I don't know. Hey, y'all out there, do me a favor. If you have watched this YouTube video to this point, drop in the comments. What do you think is easier, to punch down at the ball or to punch up? You think it'd be easier to punch up?
Less expected, yeah. Less expected. They won't see it coming.
Y'all gotta let me know out there what y'all think. I'm gonna say punch down and the ball drop on the ground and do some dribbles. But y'all let us know out there and let us know what y'all think. We gotta talk about Brown. And this is his sophomore season. And I can truly say that he looked horrible. He looked like a fish out of water on a lot of different plays. And this made me want Tafunga back. And Tufunga's been out for Ufunga has been out since last season with an injury. But this made me want him back, even though Ufunga doesn't have the speed like Brown. But man, I missed Ufunga because Ufunga would never allow that stuff to happen. That was hard. All right, so closing statements for me. Minnesota Vikings just wanted more. We have to do better. We have to re-look at blitz packages, special teams. I ain't gonna talk about it. Special teams can do way better. Everybody can just do better. Everybody can step up. But this just comes down to the Minnesota Vikings just wanting it more. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can really say. You know what I mean? Every dog has a day, and the 49ers had a hell of a day. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling when you hop on a plane to get your ass whooped. But that's exactly what happened. The 49ers hopped on a plane just to get their asses whooped. And
sometimes that's what you need. I really get behind what you said, that it's good to have that happen early to you. You want that early so that you are awake. You are awake after that.
It shouldn't happen. With this team that we have, it shouldn't happen. With this team that we have, we shouldn't have to get slapped in the face and know that, hey, it's a new season. We spent too much money. We spent way too much money. Like, we're buying a Lombardi trophy right now. We're buying it. And we still gotta get slapped in the Nah, it don't sit right in my heart. It don't sit right with me. It's frustrating. But at the same time, we got the Rams next week. And that's going to be a hard, tough game, That's going to be a hard, tough game. And I'm looking forward to it. What's your final closing words? What you thinking, Lincoln?
I mean, overall, I would say I'm expecting to see the Niners really, pull out some things that we haven't seen yet. I think they're awake next game. I think they're really there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not after this, right? Like, they can't. After this, they know what they need to do.
Absolutely. I don't see the 49ers losing back-to-back games. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't fathom that.
They're the kings of comeback. You know what I mean?
You said kings of comeback. Pause. Kings of comeback.
Yeah. They're coming back.
Yo. Thank y'all for tuning in to our episode 2 of our podcast. I am Filmo Trev. This is L. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Share this with the 49er faithful. Get the word out that we are the only in live after game talking about the game podcast on YouTube. And we're going to be here for the whole entire season. I'm going to be here. Elle hopefully will be here next time. She'll have 49er merch on because she's slacking and her macking. But that's a different topic for a different time. So thank y'all for tuning in. Do you want to say anything else, or it's a wrap?
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Thank y'all. Until next time, next week. Go Niners, go faithful. We love y'all. We out.